Hi everybody, I hope you were all well. It's quite early on Saturday morning. I said it'd probably take about a week for me to get through the book this week, and there we go. I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday last week. I did my previous book review, but it was about a week, so let's call it that. I've had as you know, I've been off from work this week, and it's been absolutely wonderful. I got to spend time with my family over Easter. Monday was my mum's birthday, so we spent the day out walking around a National Trust property, not inside the property, obviously the gardens and such. I've done loads of reading. I've absolutely chilled out. I bought this amazing hoodie from Shakespeare's Birthplace. It is so comfy. I got the extra large because I was just a bit like, I just wanted something that was bigger and a bit more, just lovely and comfortable. It's got all full fleece lining. It's got pockets inside the pockets, and it's got thumb holes. This is just perfect for me. So I've been wearing this like for days because I'm not like I love it so much. But yeah, I've just been having such a wonderful time off. I can't believe it's Saturday and I'm back to work on Monday. But I feel like I really needed the break. I think it was a well-deserved break after the craziness of work over the past few months. So I'm very glad about that. And I've got some leave booked for my birthday in June. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Lockdown is easing around here and such at the moment. So thus I was able to see my sister and my brother-in-law and niece and nephew over Easter, which was absolutely wonderful. And yeah, it's just kind of the countdown now to the next steps and everything. Mum and Dad have had their COVID jabs, which is great. Mum's got her second one, I think it's Monday, and Dad's got his in a few weeks' time, I think, or maybe a bit more than that. But yeah, so yeah, I'm still waiting for mine. But being a woman in her mid-30s with no serious illnesses, that kind of thing, I'm kind of in the last pot, as it were, which I'm totally happy with. If everyone else to get their jab first, who needs it first, they should get it first. So I don't know when I'm going to get mine, but we'll just have to see. And of course, yesterday was a sad day with the loss of Prince Philip. I was quite taken aback, if I'm honest, just because it was the announcement. It was just like so out the blue. I know obviously he'd been ill in hospital and he'd had heart surgery and stuff like that. But it wasn't like it wasn't like he was readmitted to hospital and we were getting news that he was getting weaker and kind of thing. It was just he's gone, and in a way, it's just going to sound weird, but it's kind of nicer that way because his final days with his family, it's totally private, as it should be. I feel very, very sad for the Queen. And like my sister was saying yesterday, he is the last person who knew her before she was queen, before she was a mother, and 70 years together is a long, long time. And, my heart goes out to her and to obviously all the royal family who have lost such a monumental person in their family. My heart goes out to them. And we'll just have to see what happens with the funeral and such. Obviously, COVID aside, even if there wasn't COVID going on, so crowds and such, being together wasn't an issue, I honestly think that the Queen would prefer to have a private funeral because he meant so much to her. And fair play, So yeah, it just feels like a big shift has happened in the monarchy and everything at the moment, and it's very, very sad. But my heart goes out to the Queen and all her family and everyone who knew and loved Prince Philip. Yeah, it was it was a weird day yesterday. But anyway, enough about what's been going on this week. I'm here to talk about the book I've been reading this week, which I finished last night, which is The Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, the third book in the Dark Artifices series. So I finished this last night. I finished it, about 8ish or something, because obviously the news of Prince Philip meant I was just watching a lot of TV yesterday, or the news coverage and everything from midday when the announcement got made. And so it was quite interesting really reading the ending of this book as the ending of a monumental life, as it came to an end, especially with because there's a lot of things to do with kings and queens and status and such, especially at the end of this book, of the different realms of Cassandra Clare's world, and it just kind of related in a sense to the loss of Philip. But anyway, so that was why I didn't finish it until late last night. I'm very chuffed with myself for getting through 880 pages in 6 days. Oh no, yes, 6 days, because I started it on Sunday, not Monday. So 6 days it's taken to get through this mammoth book. So very proud of myself for that. Now, The Dark Artifices, I read the first book of that trilogy in January last year. I then read the second book of the trilogy in December last year, and then the third book of the trilogy in obviously April this year. So I have had, it's been well over a year of the spreading out the whole story, as it were. And as soon as I read the first book, Lady Midnight, I was a bit like, this is a lot of characters. Not that I'm saying that she's not done loads of characters before, but it's kind of been, there's been about 7 or 8 main characters. This one, there was probably over a dozen of probably about that. So I was a bit like, okay, this is going to be interesting for how she shifts people about and such and what they're doing. But she did do it really well in the first and second book, and then it came to this one. And even though I would give this book probably a 4-star, I was a bit disappointed in some things that Cassandra Clare did. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't have problems with it, but the issues are there. Now, what the key issue for me was the first section of this book. This first section of this book covers, I think, probably about 400 pages, between 300 and 400 pages, which is set just straight up, literally seconds after the second book ends, the third book starts. So you're still, because it ended with a battle and something happened, and then she left us on that cliffhanger. So she started the book, this third book, seconds after that cliffhanger happened, which I quite appreciated, because it allowed you to just go straight through. And if you're reading these books back to back, it just makes it like the seconds, as it were, it takes you to put the second book down and pick up the third one. Then no time has passed. So that was really good. But yeah, so it starts straight after that battle. Then you have this kind of slow burner, 100-odd pages, I'd say, where they have to deal with the aftermath of the battle. There are people who they lost, so there's funerals and, things like that, and figuring out what to do next. Right. And then there's it goes kind of a bit too fast. You had this one chapter at the very beginning, as I said, ending the battle and all that lot. Totally get that. Then this slow slog, and then suddenly everyone is rushing around and doing stuff. They're splitting up all over the place and meeting up with other people. Suddenly the amount of people that you'll keep your eye on, because of the key characters are meeting up with other people and getting and passing back and forth between each other and messages back and forth between each other. You probably got about 20 people you've got to keep your eye on. Okay, so that's the first section. Then the second section, and this is a semi-spoiler, but I'm not going to explain further why, but I have to kind of say it in order to explain my next issue. The second part of the book, the second section, is set in another universe, which is similar to ours, but where certain events that happened in the Mortal Instruments series didn't happen. So we've got characters who have come from our standard universe have gone into that universe, and we're keeping an eye on. And then we're keeping an eye on, of those 20 odd characters, these alternative universe versions. We're keeping an eye on all of those, and then the final part, we're reverting back to our universe, and we're back with the 20 odd characters, and they're roaming around. And it was just, felt like this book has got too much going on. If she had pulled back a bit, or if she had not have so many things going on, I think that would have worked. The flow of it would have worked better. So thinking about like Lady Midnight and Lord of Shadows, it was like with those, it was very clear cut. These are the steps that we're going to take. And I know, obviously, like with any story, there's going to be a thing where someone says, I've got a plan, we're going to follow that plan, and the plan falls to crap because something unexpected happens. Fair enough. Always happens. That happens in every single one of Cassandra Clare's books, so this is not something new. But the fact that she went wham and just spread these characters every which way possible, had them interact with other people, sent alternative universe where you're doing the same thing, and then back to universe and you're doing the same, it's all crazy again. It's just a bit like too much, Cassandra, just too much. When it comes to Cassandra Clare's world, obviously, because it's like it's a fantasy thing, anything is possible that could happen, right? I get that. I have gone through, the Mortal Instruments, the Dark Artifices, all her range of books previously before this. I've read them all. There's nothing that has surprised me. For the first time ever in a Cassandra Clare book, I went, what? In two places. Not just one, two. Now, the first one, it was just a bit like, huh? And my sister had this same reaction because she's read this series. She's right up to date with Cassandra's books, because I think I've got 2 standalones and then the first 2 books of the next trilogy, which is set back in the Victorian age, because she had a trilogy that's set in the Victorian era, following Jem, Will, and Tessa, and then this new trilogy is following the children of Will and Tessa. So it's in the past, but it's still important for going forward. Sorry, I kind of went on a divergent there. Sorry, there's something on my screen. There we go. I've always been very open to anything possibly happening. And then there was a thing that happened, which a semi-tiny spoiler, but I'm not going to explain it whatsoever, so you have no idea what I mean, involving giants. And it just kind of felt like, I'm sorry, what is this? Why? And then I felt like I was watching the Iron Giant. And it just, I get what she was doing, but it just felt like a bit of a nonsensical thing that she just kind of bunged in, thinking it would be fine with it. And given stuff that's happened in previous books, this has never been mentioned. This has never been brought up as a bit of knowledge to do with history with Shadowhunters and everything. It just popped up and they're like, okay. I just didn't get it. I didn't get that part. I think that's the weakest part of the book. It just, if something, I have totally, every time something new has come along in Cassandra Clare's world, I have gone, oh, okay, right, but it's logical, it makes sense. And then this happened, and I'm like, what is this? This is very, very odd. And even the people who you'd expect to be able to have the answers about this didn't have the answers. So thus I kind of felt like this is just something that she bunged in. It might possibly be a setup for a future book. It's possible. But at the same time, I just kind of felt like this is a jumping the shark moment, if I'm honest. And now I feel like I'm watching The Iron Giant. Reading this bit, and if you watch The Iron Giant, you know what and you've read this book, you'll know what I mean. With a certain scene. So yeah, and then after that point, after the battles, after the end, there is a stunningly beautiful final chapter, and I was like, yes, okay, we are back. Cassandra, you pulled it off in the end. I will let the giant thing pass by as an anomaly, as it were, because I have liked all of Cassandra Clare's books previously. I know the Victorian Age trilogy set that I was mentioned before. If you actually look at my review, I was quite about it, but I did like it, and I really did like the connections of characters, and those characters, I still know their names, I know exactly what happened and all this, so I would read them again. So even though I might have had a few irks with it, I still really loved it. This one, I think, is the first one where I've gone about it. But the final chapter was absolutely beautiful, brought everything back together. It's had people together who should be together in the places that they should be, the places where they need to be. And so, yeah, fine. And then the epilogue happened. And for the first time ever, I threw my book, my first Cassandra Clare book, should I clarify, ever, I actually threw it on the floor after I finished it. I was livid with that epilogue. Right, I don't mind when Cassandra Clare puts the cliffhanger at the end of a trilogy to set it for her next book, okay? I don't mind that. She's done it before. It's fine. But when she's done it before, she's done it in such a subtle way that you're like, okay, this is a teaser that something is coming on the horizon. This one, she just basically kind of slapped you in the face and then went, bye, I'm going now. And the next book in this, for carrying on from that cliffhanger, we're not going to get for a few more years yet. So what was the bloody point? What was the point of doing such a big cliffhanger moment when you're going to leave us hanging for, because this was 2018 that this got published, you're going to leave us hanging for like 5 years? Why? I think it would have been so much better if she didn't put the epilogue in, did like a short story collection and rammed that in at the end of the short story collection, in a couple of books time. Her writing schedule, I don't know why her publishing schedule is and such. But then the teaser, or the slap in the face, shall I say, is closer to the publication and lets you know that there is proper danger coming now. It wasn't subtly done. And because of that, I just felt like Cassandra really slipped up for me in this book. I do love the book. Don't get me wrong, I do love the book. But I just feel like structurally it was too chaotic. The giants thing had made absolutely no sense, and the epilogue was a slap in the face. So because of that, I can't give it a 5-star. I'll give it a 4-star because characters, the progression of the story and such. I love there was this whole section near the end of the book to do with politics and after the battle, the impact that it makes and everything. The structuring of their world has shifted because of this book, and they have to start again. And the discussions and such that took place were fantastic for that. It just like it just has serious issues for me. What I think might be better for this trilogy is if you read them back to back, like my sister did. She went through the entire Cassandra Clare collection up to is it Chain of Iron, the first of the new trilogy? I'll need to check that. I'll put that in the description. Up to then, she read the entire Cassandra Clare collection back to back. So she had a constant flow, whereas I have spread this trilogy alone over a year. So I think it might be that this trilogy works better if you were to read them back to back. And to be honest, because of the craziness of stuff that goes on in this final book, it feels like because there was a Shadowhunters TV series, which is absolutely great. Check it out. It's brilliant. It's all on Netflix. Or here in the UK. I don't know about overseas, but it's definitely here on Netflix. Here in the UK. If Shadowhunters were to pick it up, I feel like this one book alone would dominate like half a series alone. And it's the final book of a trilogy. It's that there's so much going on. Yeah, it's a lot. But I'm willing to try it again. I'm willing to continue with the world. I'm not saying that I would give up on the world, because it's the first kind of dud, as it were, for me out of her books. But yeah, it just felt like this was jarring. And I'm not like I need to go straight into a next book now. I know it's a standalone book. Well, 2 standalone books next in the collection of books for me to read, but I'm not like I need to read it now. I am happy to wait because of the impact, because of this book. I mean, it could well be that the next book is absolutely brilliant and she corrected the issues, the flaws that that I found with this one. But I'm just a bit like, I'm okay with waiting a while. So yeah, so it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible. It was above like meh, as it were. It was in the higher ranges of classifying a book, 1 to 5 stars, but I can't give it a 5 whatsoever. I can't do that. It just, yeah. I think I'll need to reread the trilogy back to back, and it'll flow better for me. But yeah, Cassandra, I did like it, but it had some issues, hun. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pussyfoot around it. I just felt like this was the first time she's majorly slipped up for me, but I liked it. It's awkward. So yeah, I'm not going to do a reading, because just like with the other ones, because of the thing with Cassandra's writing, that pretty much no matter what I would read out, I would spoil something because there's so many things in her books. So I'm not going to do a reading, but I think I'm done with that. I can't think of anything else more to say. So, would I read this book again? Yes, but as I said, I think I need to reread the trilogy back to back to make it flow better. Would I read any more Cassandra Clare's books? Yes, but as I said, I think I'll wait a bit until I read the next one, the Shadow Market. Sorry, I think it's a short story collection, or if it just follows Kit, I'm not too sure. But yeah, but right now, because of the flaws that I found with this book, I think I'll wait a while until I get to the next one. Would I recommend this to anyone? Yes, I would. I always recommend Cassandra Clare's books whenever somebody's asking for a young adult fantasy series for them to get into. But I would mention that this is the first one where I felt it was rather flawed, and to go 880 pages, that's a lot even for a Cassandra Clare book. It's a lot. So it just kind of, you can tell that the amount of stuff that's in this book, it's a lot going on, and I would warn them of that. But recommend probably that they read the trilogy back to back. So those are my thoughts on Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. Have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. You give me a comment in the comments box below, or give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely up to you, I decide. And I'll be back with my thoughts on the next book I've announced, which is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I think I'm going to start reading this today. I'm going over to Mum and Dad's for lunch today, so that'd be nice. And it's quite funny, this is like 280 pages, and with this I've been averaging about 200 pages a day. So I might get this done this weekend. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I don't think so. I don't think it's likely. But we'll see what happens, because I've got other stuff I've got to do, spend the day tomorrow doing. But we will see. So yeah, I'm really excited about the Midnight Library, and just FYI, this will be book 15 of what I've read so far this year. I believe. Yes, I think it will be. Now I'm debating with myself. Well, if it is, I will absolutely confirm it in the description below. And that's the case. I announced 35 books that I'd picked out for the year, and if I'm on 15 already, and it's early April, early to mid, it's like it's 10th, isn't it today? Yeah, that's pretty good going. So I'm quite chuffed with that. And of course, I said that if any books get given to me, or any other books I buy this year, I have to read them this year as well. There are 2 books for certain that I'm going to be buying later on this year, but I think they're both out in October, or one might be September, one's October. So the first one is the prequel to The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, which came out October last year, but because all of my Pillars series are in paperback, I have to get it in paperback in order for it to sit with the others on my bookshelf. And so yeah, it takes about a year for his books to come out in paperback, so it'd be about September, October time. And then the most recent Laura Purcell book comes out in paperback on, I think it's the 10th of October here, right when Cheltenham Literature Festival is happening. So I really hope that she comes to the Literature Festival to talk about it. That would be amazing, because I've not seen her there, because you know how we've gotten to her books recently. So those 2 definitely will be added to my books to read later on this year. So yeah, so that's been 37. So I'm not doing too badly so far, but we'll just have to see. I might get some more books. I know for certain that my sister is getting me books for my birthday. So I don't know which, but she's definitely getting me, because she's got into a load of books, which I'll talk about when I receive those for my birthday. And because I know that one of them, I think my sister said she was giving me a couple of books, I think. But yeah, one of them is from that book collection that she's really gotten into. So yeah, so we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, so there we go. I've picked out the next 5 reads, which I will announce after I publish my review of The Midnight Library as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you later. Bye.